This is a full story. Kitten wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. While at work, I sent a message to my beautiful boss. Are you free this Sunday? She replied with 2 words. Pervert. I froze. What was that supposed to mean? Then another message came in. This week you wanted that soon. Then I'll come to your place right now. I stared at my phone in shock. God, was this my big break? After graduating from university, my girlfriend Alice and I joined the same company. Not long after, she cheated on me. The man she cheated with was none other than her department manager Tony. I was so furious my face turned green, and I stormed off to argue with Alice. But she just smiled coldly and said, Rocky, stop making a scene. We're not kids anymore. Tony is only a few years older than you, yet he's already a department manager. Do you think you'll ever be one in your life? Do you really think I, Alice, should follow you and suffer? Honestly, I wanted to quit right then and there. I didn't want to work in the same company as this traitor, but reality calmed me down. Finding a job wasn't easy. I needed this work experience, this entry on my resume. I couldn't let a traitor ruin my life. So I adjusted my mindset and decided to face my daily work positively. I was going to achieve something big and make her regret it. Just a petty little manager, and she thought I'd never get there in my life. How could my life be defined by a woman like her? Still, betrayal leaves a bitter taste, and I couldn't help feeling low. When the weekend came, I decided to go hiking. I believe that men should climb mountains, stand tall, look far, and sweep away all the gloom in their hearts. Early in the morning on my way up, I met a beautiful woman. She was fair-skinned, with curves in all the right places, and a striking aura. But what made me want to laugh was that she clearly had no hiking experience. She was wearing a floral dress. We nodded politely as we passed, smiled at each other, then took separate paths toward the peak. When I reached the top, the sun was just rising. Golden light spilled down, and the bustling city lay before me in its full glory. All my gloom vanished, and a surge of pride filled my chest. I shouted toward the city like a fool, releasing everything in my heart. The moment my shout faded, another rang out, a woman's voice, and it was full of fear. I immediately thought of the woman in the floral dress. Oh no, could she be in trouble? I followed the sound. Sure enough, she was. She had slipped and rolled toward the slope beside the path. Fortunately, a thicket of bushes stopped her fall, but in the tumble, the branches had torn her dress to shreds. When I found her, she was pale as snow. Blood streaked her slender jade-like legs. When she saw me, her eyes grew nervous, her face flushed. I turned my back and said, "Don't be afraid. I'm just here to help you." Then I began taking off my jacket. Her voice trembled with panic. "What are you doing? Don't you dare. Help." I rolled my eyes, handed her the jacket. "Tie this around your waist. It'll cover you a bit." She froze, then said guiltily, "Sorry, I misunderstood you." "Thank you." She wrapped the jacket around herself, tying the sleeves at her waist, so that from the front, her exposed lower half was finally covered. Her ankle was twisted. She couldn't walk. We tried to call for help, but there was no signal in the mountains. "How about I carry you down?" I suggested. She hesitated. "Would that be appropriate?" I shrugged. "Doesn't bother me. It's up to you. Or you could stay here. I'll go down, find a signal, and get help. But I've heard there are wild boars here." I wasn't trying to scare her. There really were rumors about wild boars. Clearly, she was frightened. She blushed and whispered, "Then, sorry to trouble you. Please carry me down." Before carrying her, I had to treat her wounds. It wasn't life-threatening, but the bleeding wouldn't stop. As a seasoned hiker, I always carried first aid supplies. I took out iodine gauze and band-aids. "Lift your clothes a bit. I'll bandage you." She blushed deeply and lifted the jacket in front of her legs. I swabbed the wound with iodine, then started wrapping the bandage. My hands inevitably brushed her thigh. I swear, I didn't mean anything by it, but her breathing quickened and her ears turned red. Damn, was her thigh a sensitive spot? My thoughts started to stray. "Come on, lady, don't do this to me." Finally, I finished with her leg. Now for her back, where some thorns were lodged. "You've got thorns in your back. If we don't pull them out, go ahead," she said softly, head down. I moved behind her. "I'll start. It might hurt a bit. Hang in there." She nodded. I'd be lying if I said I had no thoughts then. Her smooth, jade-like back was a fatal temptation. I took a deep breath, pushed the thoughts away, pulled out the thorns, disinfected the area, and bandaged her quickly. We both let out a long breath when it was done. We were both sweating. Her face flushed hot red. Damn, such a simple thing. Felt like an intense workout. On the way down, her Twin Peaks bounced on my back, driving me crazy. The air between us was thick with awkwardness and tension. "You must be tired. Want to rest a bit?" she whispered in my ear. I shook my head. "No problem. I could carry you up the mountain, let alone down." I wasn't bluffing. Fresh out of college, at my physical peak, and far from a frail bookworm. In fact, I loved working out, and my exposed chest didn't feel cold at all in the morning wind. After that, the air grew awkward again. To ease it, I started chatting idly. She learned my name was Rocky. I learned hers was Haley. I asked why she'd worn a dress to hike. She said hiking wasn't planned. She'd been in a bad mood, drove aimlessly to the mountain, and decided to climb on a whim. When I asked why she was upset, she said she didn't want to work. She wanted to study art abroad, but her family forced her to work. I smiled. Life rarely goes our way. For young people, working early could ease their parents' financial burden. I figured her parents just couldn't afford to support her dream. After all, studying abroad and art, those words meant mountains of money, things far from ordinary people's reach. When we reached the parking lot, I realized I'd underestimated her, because a blindingly shiny Porsche was waiting for her. Thanks for carrying me. Could you help me one more time? Since she wasn't wearing pants, wrapped only in my jacket, she couldn't drive. Can you take me home? She asked shyly. Of course I could. I slid into the driver's seat. Hop in. She carefully lifted her leg into the passenger seat. Just so you know, I'm not great at driving. I had my license, but hardly any experience. Only in the beat-up cars from driving school. This was my first time behind the wheel of such a nice car, so I was nervous. She noticed and smiled. It's fine. Don't worry. Even if you scratch it, I won't blame you. I smiled back, but still drove with extreme caution, hands gripping the wheel, creeping along at bicycle speed. She almost laughed at my seriousness, then began giving me driving tips. With her guidance, my driving improved. I was just starting to feel proud and speed up a little when a small dog darted out ahead. I swerved left in shock, and the momentum threw Haley right against me. When I braked to a stop, her head was in my lap. The awkwardness was off the charts. Honestly, it wasn't my fault. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. 2 seconds later, her face flushed red. She lifted her head. No harm done. You drove well. Your reaction was quick. A successful emergency maneuver. I became cautious again. Eventually, under her guidance, I drove into a villa district. In front of a villa surrounded by green bamboo, I stopped the car. After getting out, Haley politely invited me. Why don't you come in and sit for a while? I shook my head and refused with a smile. I was still shirtless. Going in would be inappropriate. Besides, she was from a wealthy family, and rich households have strict rules. I would only feel out of place inside. I knew my own position well. She and I were merely strangers whose paths had crossed briefly. I had just helped her out by chance. There was no need to get too involved. Then wait here for me. She opened the villa door and went inside. Not long after she came back out. She was now wearing a beautiful long dress and holding my jacket in her hands. She looked a little embarrassed as she said, "Here's your jacket, but I wore it just now. How about I buy you a new one instead?" I smiled and shook my head. No need. To be honest, having my jacket worn by her was something I welcomed. When we were coming down the mountain earlier, an evil thought had flashed through my mind. I wanted to take the jacket home and press it to my nose for a deep breath. But the moment that thought appeared, I cursed myself in my heart. Beast, pervert, how could I have such filthy thoughts? After a round of self-reproach, I forgave myself. Haley was simply too beautiful. In such a moment of close skin-to-skin contact with her, any man would have a few indecent thoughts. That didn't mean I was a pervert. Haley saw I refused, so she didn't insist. After getting my jacket back, I said goodbye and got ready to head home for a shower. Carrying her on my back down the mountain had left me hot and sweaty, both from physical exertion and from inner heat. As I walked out of the villa district, I turned to look back. This woman I had helped was merely a passerby in my life. Someone like me, an ordinary man, would have no further connection with her. On Monday, I came to work as usual. While I was busy at my desk, the secretary to the president suddenly called out to me. "Rocky, you're strong. Help me carry this stack of documents to the meeting room." All right. I knew there was an important meeting going on in the conference room. Rumor had it the old president was retiring, and the new president would be decided today. Carrying the thick stack of documents, I reached the conference room door and ran into Alice. She held out her hand to stop me. "Rocky, don't you know there's an important meeting going on inside? This isn't a place for you." I sneered. "Why are you meddling? Can't you see I'm delivering documents?" She gave me a contemptuous glance. "Oh, so you're just a delivery boy? Fine, go in." A surge of anger rose in me. This woman had climbed to a higher branch and now looked down on me. Back when we were together, I never realized she was like this. I said curtly, yes, I'm just an errand boy. How could I compare to you?" She chuckled. "Of course you can't compare to me. Tony is in there right now. He specifically arranged for me to serve water to the big shots." I almost laughed out loud. So that was it. I had thought she had some real authority. Turns out she was just a water-serving assistant. I really couldn't understand. We were both just working folk. How could a water-serving assistant have the face to look down on a document courier? Seeing my amused expression, she snapped. "What, you looking down on me? Let me tell you, many people fight for this water-serving job and can't get it." Yes, I nodded. "Serve water to the big shots today, rise to the top tomorrow." "That's right," she said proudly. I ignored her and lightly knocked on the conference room door. "Here Hearing come in, I stepped inside with the documents. The moment I entered, my steps froze, because I saw a familiar figure. Haley. She looked at me in surprise too. Her cheeks flushed as she gave me a small nod. I wondered, she works here too. And if she's in this meeting, she must not be an ordinary employee. She must be in management. Then I suddenly realized the old president's name was Henry, and Haley was sitting in the seat directly to his left. Could she be related to him? Henry was approachable without any airs of leadership. Seeing me carrying the heavy documents, he smiled. Thank you for your hard work, young man. I came back to my senses. You're welcome, President Henry. Where should I put these? Since you brought them here, I'll trouble you to hand them out. One copy for each person. All right. I began distributing the documents as the meeting continued. The old president said, I have decided to step back from daily affairs. Though I will remain chairman, the position of president will be given to my daughter Haley. From now on, she will handle all company matters. As soon as he finished, warm applause filled the room, especially from Alice's lover Tony, the HR manager. He clapped so hard his arms waved in the air, afraid Henry might not notice. I was surprised. So Haley was indeed related to Henry. She was his daughter. I never imagined that the woman I had helped just 2 days ago would now be my boss. Once you finish handing out the documents, please read through them. They are my arrangements for the company before my retirement, Henry said, giving Haley a fond look. Haley has never been involved in company operations. I hope you will all help her and not let down my trust in you. At that moment, Tony stood up to pledge loyalty to the new boss. He hadn't even looked at the documents because I hadn't handed his yet. Miss Haley, I'm the HR manager, Tony. I've long heard you are unmatched in beauty, and today I see it's true. Before he could finish flattering her, I placed his documents on the table and accidentally bumped into him, nearly knocking him over. He barely steadied himself and snapped at me. You blind dog, can't you see where you're going? Do you want to lose your job? I didn't do it on purpose, I replied calmly. The stack of documents is high and blocked my view. I think you did it on purpose, he barked. Get out. Yes, I had done it on purpose. Just seeing this guy irritated me. So what if I bumped him? Haley suddenly stood up and said, Rocky didn't do it on purpose. Why are you speaking so harshly? Tony froze, looking nervous. Of course, Wash had just made a bad impression on the new president, and he couldn't understand how Haley knew my name. After all, she had never been to the company before. Henry also spoke up. As members of the management team, your vision determines the company's vision. I hope you can all have broad hearts. Though he didn't name names, he looked at Tony after speaking. Tony instantly broke into a sweat. I'm sorry, President. It was just the heat of the moment. Let's continue the meeting, Henry waved, cutting him off. Seeing Tony deflated filled me with satisfaction. I gave Haley a grateful look, then finished handing out the documents and left the room. At the door, Alice mocked me again. Finished handing them out. Then hurry up and leave. This isn't a place for you. Then I won't disturb you while you play doorkeeper. Remember to refill the water inside. If you don't serve well, you might lose your job, I said with a smile. Alice's face twisted with anger. She wanted to snap back, but was afraid people inside would hear. She glared at me fiercely. I laughed and walked away briskly. In truth, I couldn't understand. She was the one who cheated, so why treat me worse than a stranger? After thinking it over, I understood. She had cheated on me and found a lover. She needed to prove that her lover was better than me in every way. Only then could she justify cheating. If I turned out to be better than him, she would be the fool. So she would do everything possible to stop me from succeeding in the company. In the morning, as I passed by the door of the president's office, I heard the old president's cheerful voice from inside. Haley, before you went into the meeting room today, you were still fussing with me, saying you'd never want to sit in this president's seat. So why did you suddenly change your mind after the meeting? If I've changed my mind, shouldn't you be happy? Haven't you always hoped I would take over for you? Happy? Of course I'm happy. Haley, it's not that your father didn't want to send you abroad to study art. I had you late in life. I couldn't bear to have you so far away. Do you understand me? I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't take this president's seat. President Henry laughed loudly. Don't fool me. If you're willing to be president, there must be another reason. Tell me, did you set your eyes on someone in the company? You guess. I bet you did. We have many outstanding young men here. If you like one, he must not be ordinary. Is it Tony from HR? Good education, capable at work, and not bad looking. Haley snorted. TCH. I wouldn't like him. That guy's eyes are full of cunning. Not a good man. Then who? Dad, what do you think of Rocky? Rocky? Which Rocky? The one who was handing out documents in the meeting room today. Oh, that young man. Looks healthy, strong, and quite handsome, but I haven't interacted with him much. Do you know him? Sort of. Henry became interested. Then tell me, how is his ability? I don't know. You don't know? Right, but I'm sure he's a good person. Henry laughed. In this company, being a good person isn't enough. Workability is most important. I disagree. I think character matters most. As for workability, that can be trained. Haley, I feel something's off. You didn't happen to like him, did you? Haley acted coy. What if I did? What would you do? The old president's voice became serious. I've always said, when it comes to finding you a husband, we don't care about the other family's wealth. We already have more than enough money. But the man must be capable, able to protect the family business. If he can, I have no objections. It depends on him. I think he probably has ability. If not, I can train him, Haley said firmly. All right, train him however you like. Now you're the president. You decide. Daddy, you're the best. Haley cooed again. You're the best daddy in the world. Henry was delighted by his daughter's flattery. Haha, but I'm curious. How did you meet him? You hadn't been to the company before. I'll tell you tonight when we get home. I was stunned at the door. What? Haley likes me. Thinking carefully, I found it impossible. She was probably just still grateful that I carried her down the mountain. When that gratitude fades, this will be gone too. We're from two different worlds. Impossible. Better to focus on work and make myself stronger. After the old president left the company, Haley officially took office. I was busy at my desk in the sales department when the department head came over smiling. Rocky, I just got the notice. From now on, you're promoted to deputy head of sales. My right-hand man. He even emphasized, I've always thought highly of you. Between brothers, titles don't matter. We'll discuss everything together. I was completely confused. Deputy head. I'd only been here a short while, with no major achievements. How could I be promoted? Isn't this a mistake? I'm not qualified. Absolutely not a mistake, the head laughed. The notice came directly from the president's office. Skipping HR. Rocky, I didn't expect you and the new president to be so close. You'll have to look after me from now on. Sure, I replied blankly. After he left, I thought about it and accepted it. It must be Haley's way of thanking me. This actually helps me. It gives me a great start to make my mark in the company. After some thought, I decided to go to the president's office to thank her. Just outside the door, I heard Tony's voice inside. President Haley, why wasn't Rocky's appointment processed through HR? That's against rules and procedure. Haley replied coolly. What rules, Tony? Are you teaching me how to do my job? I wouldn't dare. I was just curious if you knew Rocky. Curiosity is dangerous. Curiosity can kill. Tony, do your own work and don't pry into things you shouldn't. I was impressed outside the door. I didn't expect Haley to have such an imposing side. Then again, growing up by the old president's side, like father, like daughter, the old president was kind, but never soft in serious matters. Haley was the same. When I carried her down the mountain, she was a delicate woman. Now in this position, she was a domineering president. Tony was clearly intimidated and stood frozen. Anything else if not? Get back to work, Haley said lightly. You should have left then, but instead he pulled a stunt. President Haley, to celebrate your promotion, I booked a candlelight dinner at the city's best restaurant. Would you honor me with your presence? I was shocked outside. A candlelight dinner. Your intentions couldn't be more obvious. Sure enough, Haley replied coldly. Thank you for the thought, but a candlelight dinner isn't appropriate. That's where lovers sit together. Tony took the chance to hint. President Haley, that's not what I meant. But who knows about the future? To be honest, from the moment I saw you, I've admired you deeply. How dare you? Haley slammed the table. Who gave you permission to admire me? Get out. I knocked on the door just then. President Haley, may I come in? Seeing me, Haley's eyes softened instantly. Then she shot Tony a glare. Get out. Don't make me repeat myself. If what you said today makes Rocky misunderstand, you can go to finance to pick up your last paycheck. Tony was dumbfounded and gave me a complicated look. Why are you looking at me? I'm confused too. What misunderstanding? After Tony left, I stated my reason. President Haley, thank you for promoting me to deputy head. I know it's because of the mountain incident. Don't worry. I'll work hard. If I can't produce results, you can remove me. Haley didn't respond to that. Instead, she smiled and asked, Rocky, what do you like to do in your free time? Hiking, traveling, writing, in short, things I love doing. Haley's face turned red. Things you love doing. I realized the awkward phrasing and chuckled. President Haley, don't misunderstand. I didn't mean that. She asked again, what do you like to eat? Lots of things, but I like barbecue the most. Oh, Haley seemed to be thinking. The next day near noon, a strong aroma of barbecue spread through the company. Under everyone's gaze, Haley walked in carrying a large bag. Rocky, this is Wagyu beef flown in this morning. I had my chef grill it. Try it. The office buzzed instantly. People whispered, wow, President Haley brought Rocky barbecue. Is she trying to make us jealous? I was surprised too. President Haley, I've never eaten it, but I know Wagyu is expensive. Why? Don't worry about the cost. Just eat. I can't take it without earning it. Haley smiled. You've earned it plenty. Just take it as thanks. Thinking about it, I decided to accept it as thanks for the mountain incident. I'd already been promoted. One more barbecue meal wouldn't hurt. If I refused, she'd just keep arguing here, and I'd feel even more awkward. Thank you. Then I won't be polite. Seeing me accept, Haley left satisfied. I invited the whole sales department to share. Everyone was overjoyed. I thought that would be the end of it. But on the third day, Haley came again carrying a bag. Rocky, come eat barbecue. Huh, I was a little confused. Why again? Haley smiled gently. No reason, just because I want you to eat. No, this meat isn't cheap, I can't eat it. You must eat it, if you don't I'll fire you. Haley put the bag on the table. I was speechless. So this is how domineering CEOs act, completely unreasonable. Fine, I'll eat. Anyway, once her gratitude toward me fades, she should stop doing this. But I was overthinking. From then on, Haley brought barbecue to me every day. From resisting at first, I gradually became numb. If she brought it, I just ate it. What should I wait to be fired if I didn't eat? On Friday, I was late. No choice, my bicycle chain came off halfway to work. Haley blocked me at the company entrance. President Haley, I didn't mean to, my bike had a problem. What bike do you use? I proudly puffed out my chest. A shared scooter. Haley laughed. You ride a shared scooter, no wonder you're late. Then she pulled out a Mercedes key. I'm giving you a car. This weekend practice your driving skills with it. No way, that's too expensive. Haley shoved the key into my hand. If you don't accept it, I'll fire you. Being late harms the company's interests. Every minute you're late is a minute less of work. Don't underestimate those minutes. Over the years, is it still just a few minutes? She made so much sense I had nothing to say. A colleague beside us smiled and chimed in. President Haley, I also ride a shared scooter. I'm also afraid of being late. I also don't want to harm the company's interests. Get lost. Haley laughed and scolded. Looking at the key in my hand, my thoughts were a mess. Could she really mean it when she said she liked me? Otherwise, how could I explain why she was so good to me? Or was I thinking too much? These things might be expensive, but to a rich second-generation CEO, they're nothing. Oh, whatever. If she wants to do this, I'll just let her. When her novelty toward me fades, I'll return these things. The news that Haley gave me a car quickly spread through the company. Everyone secretly discussed whether we were a couple. Some gossipy female colleagues even claimed with certainty that we were going on a date. I was speechless. A date? I didn't even know we were going on a date. Come on, Haley and I aren't from the same world. What I need to do is make myself stronger. As a man, relying on myself is better than relying on others. Depending on a rich second-generation CEO is like a fairy tale, not realistic. But these rumors still sparked jealousy. Most of all, Tony and Alice disliked me. Tony already looked at me with open hostility. I understood. He thought that if Haley liked anyone in the company, it should be an elite like him. I shattered his dream of pursuing her. As for Alice, she felt a huge sense of crisis. The crisis that if I succeeded, she would become the clown. She blocked me in the elevator and mocked. Didn't expect this from you, Rocky. What do you mean? I don't even know what you're talking about. Don't pretend. I didn't think you'd seduce President Haley just to climb up. I shot back coldly. First, Haley and I are clean. Second, you cheated with Tony to climb up, so what right do you have to talk about me? Alice was furious. Rocky, don't think that just because you hooked up with Haley you can turn from a sparrow into a phoenix. I'm telling you, rich second-generation women like Haley just get interested for a while. When she's tired of you, she'll dump you. I retorted. And how do you know Tony isn't just interested for a while? Guys like him would dump you too. It's different for us. Tony truly loves me. Oh really? Then why did I see Tony planning to confess to Haley, even booking a candlelight dinner only to get rejected and leave embarrassed? What did you say? Alice's face changed. Impossible. Ask him yourself. I shrugged. And I'm warning you, keep your mouth clean. If you say I'm seducing her again, I won't let it slide. Rocky, who do you think you are? Not let it slide. You're just a deputy manager in sales. Tony is the HR manager one level above you. Touch me and see if Tony won't deal with you. Don't think Haley will really offend senior management for you. As soon as she finished, a cold voice came from behind. And what if I do offend them? I'll President Haley. Seeing Haley behind her, Alice froze. Anyone who makes me unhappy, no matter their position, will pack up and get out. And if they make Rocky unhappy, same thing. Alice's face flushed. She lowered her head and quickly left. Who is she? My ex, a cheater who teamed up with Tony to betray me. I told the truth. And now you feel I don't take her seriously, not worth it. But she keeps provoking me. I really don't understand what she's thinking. Oh, Haley replied, lightly eyes sharp as she looked at Alice's back. To dispel the rumors, I focused on work. That night, after drinking with a client until I almost vomited, I finally closed a big deal. But the client was busy, only available Sunday to sign. And he insisted the president be present to sign. I had no choice but to agree. Stumbling home, I still wondered if Haley was free Sunday. So I took out my phone and messaged her. Are you free this Sunday? Soon she replied, you're awful, Pervert. Pervert? Why would she call me that? I shook my dazed head. Crap, she must have misunderstood. I was about to explain when she sent another. You want it this week? Then I'll come to your place now. Oh no, she completely misunderstood. My brain, already sluggish, shut down. Tired, let the world end. I collapsed on the sofa and blacked out. The next day was Saturday. When I woke up, I saw dozens of unread messages. Rocky, where do you live? Send me your location. Why aren't you replying? What do you mean by this? You're not messing with me, right? Rocky, I like you. I like you, I want to be with you. I was stunned. I never imagined Haley would misunderstand. But the key is, after the misunderstanding, she didn't reject me, which meant she didn't mind. My mind mind was a mess. Rationally, I felt Haley and I wouldn't work. We were two different worlds apart. But emotionally, I cursed myself. Rocky, what are you pretending for? A girl, even if she misunderstood your meaning, didn't reject you. Doesn't that say something? Haley really likes you. What's there to be afraid of, coward? I pinched my thigh hard and decided to explain to Haley. Whether I accepted her or not, I couldn't let her think I was that kind of guy. What do you mean, are you free this Sunday? It was obviously, are you free this Sunday? I called Haley and explained the situation. Haley, last night, to close that big client, I drank too much. To be honest, I don't even know how I got home. I messaged you just to ask if you're free tomorrow. On the other end, Haley couldn't hide her disappointment. So that's what it was. I froze. Well, now why does she sound disappointed? But soon she chuckled. You were that drunk and still remembered to tell me about signing the contract on Sunday. Not bad, no wonder I think so highly of you. That dedication deserves praise. Hearing her laugh, I felt much more at ease. I even started joking with her. Of course it's a big client. So what's the company planning to reward me with this time? Haley didn't hesitate at all and blurted out, how about I reward you with myself? What? Silence fell on both ends of the line. Her sudden question left me unsure how to respond, and Haley didn't speak, waiting for my answer. In the end, I figured it out. I couldn't keep running away. No matter the outcome, I should give her a passionate response right now. Yes, who cares what happens later? Loving is what matters most. Alright, reward yourself to me and no takebacks. I finally gave my answer. The next day, Sunday, the contract was signed without a hitch. Haley and I officially got together. It was a double celebration. She was overjoyed, walking in the bright sunlight with her arm linked through mine, as if she wanted to announce it to the whole world. As we walked, we ran into Tony and Alice. The two of them were laughing together, looking every bit the scheming pair. Apparently, even though I told Alice about Tony wanting to pursue Haley, it hadn't affected their relationship. Not surprising. Alice and Tony were together purely out of mutual benefit. As long as Tony was still the HR manager, Alice wouldn't break things off. On that point, she was clear-headed. She needed Tony's help to climb the corporate ladder. But when Tony saw me with Haley, he immediately let go of Alice's hand, even though Haley was holding on to me. Even though she had clearly told Tony that a toad could never eat swan meat, Tony still harbored delusions. He didn't want Haley to know about his relationship with Alice. Alice's face turned ugly. I couldn't tell if it was because she saw me with Haley or because Tony let go of her hand. Either way, she looked bad. Tony stepped forward to greet us. What a coincidence, President Haley. Then he glanced at me. Rocky, you're here too. Haley tightened her hold on my arm. Manager Tony, are you and Alice dating? No, don't get the wrong idea. Tony rushed to explain. We're just out shopping together. Behind him, Alice's face darkened further. What a coincidence, Rocky and I are shopping too, Haley said with a smile. But we're dating. Ah, congratulations. Tony replied awkwardly. The look he gave me was complicated. I saw both unwillingness and a trace of malice. The look seemed to say, Rocky, I could cheat you once and I can do it again, just you wait. Faced with such a hostile look, I didn't hold back. Tony, I really don't like you, I said bluntly. Huh. He hadn't expected that and didn't know how to respond. Haley, however, spoke with authority. Manager Tony, you heard that. I don't care what happened between you before, but I hope you won't upset Rocky in the future. Otherwise, there will be no place for you in this company. Cold sweat broke out on Tony's forehead. Got it. I gave him a cold smile and walked off with Haley. As we passed Alice, Haley's sharp gaze swept over her. After we walked away, I smiled at Haley. Thanks for standing up for me like that. Haley pouted proudly. My man should be spoiled by me. Whoever dares to mess with you is messing with me, and I'll make sure they regret it. She turned her head again, casting another sharp glance at Alice. After Haley and I became a couple, the whole company knew. People had all sorts of things to say. I just laughed them off. To prove I wasn't relying on her, I worked even harder. Within a month, I signed big contracts, one after another, becoming the sales department champion. Haley reassigned the former sales manager to another department, and I was naturally promoted from deputy manager to manager. One day, Alice suddenly came to the sales department. She actually reached out to shake my hand. Hello, Manager Rocky. I didn't shake her hand, only asked flatly, what do you want? Annoyance flashed in her eyes. Starting today, I'll be working in the sales department. She placed a personnel transfer order on my desk. I was surprised. She'd been doing fine in HR with Tony protecting her. Why suddenly come to the high-pressure sales department? From what I knew of her, she wouldn't come here for a challenge. But I didn't ask her reason. Instead, I crossed my legs and sneered. Tony sends someone over without asking me first. What does he think this place is? The sales department department only takes the most capable employees, not just any trash. Alice smiled. Rocky, I know you hate me, but I'm not trash. If you can be the sales champion, then Alice can too. She wasn't even angry. In the past, if I'd called her trash, she would have exploded. That only confirmed my suspicion. Her coming to the sales department wasn't simple. Since I didn't know their scheme, yet it might be better to keep her close. Under my nose, I didn't believe she could stir up trouble. When Haley came to bring me barbecue, she saw Alice at her desk in the sales department. She frowned. Rocky, you brought her here. No, I shook my head. It was HR's transfer. Haley looked angry. Which idiot is so blind? Was it Tony? Does he not want his job? Then she looked at me. HR transferred her here and you just accepted it. Tell me, are you trying to get back together with her? I shook my head. Haley, do you trust me? She snorted. I trust you with everything else, but not with this. I smiled. The whole company is under your watch. What's there to worry about? Besides, how could she compare to you? In my heart, there's no woman more beautiful than you. Haley's face flushed. You and your sweet mouth. All right, let her stay, but I'm warning you, she'd better not make a move on you, or I won't let her off. I smiled faintly to myself. If Alice made a move on me, that would be fine. What I feared was her plotting something else. A month later, the company's overall sales performance declined. No matter how hard I worked, I couldn't stop the slump. I started to feel something was off. Clients I had already negotiated with suddenly backed out and signed with competitors. Even some undeveloped prospects had already signed with them when I reached out. There had to be foul play here. Haley, worried about my stress, came to comfort me. Darling, sales go up and down, don't wear yourself out. I held her hand and smiled at her, but my mind was racing. The slump began right after Alice joined the sales department. Could I conclude this was related to her? No, I had to find out the truth. The next day, I tossed Alice a set of client files. Alice, contact the clients on this list carefully. Do your best to get them to sign the contracts. After saying that, I added deliberately, these clients are important. The deal amounts won't be small. If you can close them, it will turn this month's performance around. And since you just joined the sales department, you don't have many resources in hand. I'm giving you these quality potential clients. They can boost your personal results. Make good use of them. Alice smiled at me. Thanks, but I could tell that smile was fake. It wasn't on her face. It was in her eyes. A smile of triumph. I turned and went upstairs to the meeting room, locked the door behind me. Then I took out several phones, lining them up neatly on the table. Yes, the so-called client list I gave Alice was fake. The contact information written there belonged to the very phones in front of me. Sure enough, it didn't take long before a phone rang. When I answered, the voice wasn't Alice's. It was a stranger. Mr. Peter. Hello, I'm a business manager from Galaxy Group. May I have a word with you? Mr. Peter. That was the fake name I had put on the list. And Galaxy Group was our biggest competitor. I sneered inwardly. So it was true. The client data I had just given Alice had already landed in our rival's hands. Mr. Peter, our company's product prices offer better value. Would you consider them? I made a few perfunctory replies, said I was busy and would call back later, then hung up. Not long after, the second phone rang. Mr. Sun. Hello, I'm a business manager from Galaxy Group. May I have a word with you? I said nothing. Hung up directly. That manager sent me a text. Sorry, perhaps you were in a meeting. I'll reach out again later. Wishing you all the best. Before I finished reading it, the third phone rang. President Wong. Hello, I'm a business manager from Galaxy Group. May I have a word with you? And just like that, every number I had put on Alice's fake list was called one by one. I exhaled deeply. The truth was out. Alice had stolen company client data and handed it to a competitor. No wonder she had asked to join the sales department. Only here could she access such information. But for what? Money. Was Tony involved? With those questions in mind, I headed to Haley's office. After I explained everything, Haley didn't get angry as I expected. Instead, she looked almost excited. Good. I've wanted to get rid of her for a long time. Just never had an excuse. She walked right into it. She can't blame me. I was stunned. You've disliked Alice for a while. Of course. She dared to steal my man. She's asking for it. At her desk, Alice was just about to leave work when the legal team barged in. Alice, you can't leave. You're suspected of stealing important client data, causing the company huge losses. We've called the police. Wait here for them to arrive. Alice's panic was visible. You're slandering me. What proof do you have? This? Haley walked in, threw the fake file onto the desk. This is the exact list Rocky gave you. And what a coincidence. Right after you got it, Galaxy Group had all this information. Alice grew more flustered, but kept arguing. Potential clients are everywhere. You gather them. Can't Galaxy Group gather them too? How can you prove they got it from this list? I stepped forward and laughed coldly. Easy, because this list is fake. All the names are made up. I wrote them in a minute. They don't exist in the real market. And every contact number I just registered yesterday, all under my name. You. Alice's face went ashen. Rocky, you're despicable, cunning, shameless. I fell for your trick. She began to scream unreasonably. Unbelievable. The nerve of this woman. She was acting like the victim. I stared at her coldly. Was this your idea alone? What were you after? Still crying, Alice lifted her head. What was I after? her. I hate you, Rocky. You used to be a nobody. Why should Haley like you? Why should you be sales champion and department head? If you're so outstanding, then me cheating on you back then becomes a joke. I was baffled by her logic. So, you just can't stand to see me doing well. That's right. I wanted to crush your momentum. Give all your clients to Galaxy Group. So you'd be finished. Then you wouldn't keep your sales crown. And Haley wouldn't value you anymore. In short, I can't let you be better than me. Haley almost laughed in anger. She hooked her arm through mine. Alice, even if Rocky isn't sales champion, he's still my man. I love him, no matter what he's like. I love him. Alice cried harder. That's exactly why I must destroy him. I can't let him live better than me, or I become the joke. I sighed. Alice, I know you didn't do this alone. Who else? Tell the truth. No one. It was just me. She yelled furiously. I smiled. If you won't admit it, fine. We'll sue Galaxy Group too. Let's see if they'll take the blame to protect the one behind this. And I also know, you're not protecting him out of love. You're still fantasizing, thinking that if you save him, he'll come back to save you. But I'll tell you, keep dreaming. After Alice was taken away by the police, Haley moved fast, calling an emergency meeting of all senior staff. Even those off-duty were summoned back. I'll give you one chance to confess. Who else was involved? No one spoke, but unsurprisingly, everyone looked at Tony. His murky relationship with Alice was practically an open secret in the company. Haley sneered. No one admits it. Fine, we'll see you all in court. She ordered the legal department to file suits against Galaxy Group and Alice immediately. Tony sat dazed, panic in his eyes. Tony, why are you sweating so much? I asked with a smile. Huh, am I? He wiped his forehead. No, I smiled again. Tony, do you think Alice will name the mastermind when she's in the station? Huh, you think there's a mastermind? No way. Tony was already drenched in sweat. I snorted. Who knows? I bet there is. Even if Alice keeps quiet, won't Binjong Industries say something in court? The next day, Tony ran. He didn't show up at the company. His phone was unreachable. A guilty man revealing himself. It was as good as admitting involvement. But could he escape? Soon, police acting on our report arrested him. They also uncovered large transfers from Galaxy Group to him. Haley and I went to the station to see him. Why did you do it? For money. From high-flying corporate elite to a prisoner in a cell. Tony's mind had collapsed. For money. But not only for that. He shouted, pointing at me. It's your fault. Haley should have been mine. I'm so outstanding. Why would she choose you? She even threatened me more than once for you, telling me to get out of the company. I had Alice steal client data, sell it to Galaxy Group, all to get back at you. Rocky, I hate you. Good grief. First Alice, now Tony. Both of them cheated on me, yet they hate me. Where's the logic in that? Haley looked at him with pure contempt. Delusional. Rocky is 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than you. You can't even compare to his little toe. I warned you long ago. Don't mess with Rocky. Now, go rot in jail with Alice. In the end, Tony and Alice were punished as they deserved in court. Galaxy Group also paid a heavy price. Guilty of unfair competition. They not only compensated all our losses, but were fined several times over. With those eyesores gone, I worked with a clear mind, quickly reclaimed the sales crown, and pushed company performance to first in the industry. Even the retired old president looked at me with new respect. It was the weekend again. Haley suggested doing something we both love. I panicked. What do you mean? You know, be serious. Come on, let's go hiking. At the foot of the mountain. She asked me to carry her up. Didn't you say you could carry me up the mountain, not just down? Of course, you think I was bragging. I lifted her onto my back and stepped upward into the morning sun. When we reached the same bushes as before, she smiled mysteriously. Rocky, when you pulled out those thorns for me last time, didn't you have any bad thoughts? Especially the ones on my butt. I answered seriously. No. She grinned wickedly. Are you even a man? I grinned back. Want to find out? Yes. Then, are you free this Sunday? She giggled and gave me a playful punch. Yes. The end. If you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.